How's it going, friends and wrestling fans? Captain Solomon here again. Usually, I put out a video on Tuesday and today, Wednesday, doing reviews of Raw and Smackdown, and you might have noticed that the Raw review didn't go up. Reason is I decided that I'm going to try to merge them together into one video a week. It might be easier in the long run on me. We'll see if that sticks out, especially with Raw's show being the big 25th anniversary show next week. But I'm going to be going over the January 15th episode of Raw and the January 16th episode of Smackdown. So let's get right into it with Raw, where we start with Braun Strowman. So Braun Strowman comes out to the ring and tells us a little short story about how a monster stood above a machine and a beast. And that was it. That was the short story. And Kurt Angle doesn't like short stories, though. So Kurt Angle comes down to the ring and says, because of his actions last week, we don't settle him with grappling hooks and pulling down lighting trusses. No, we're supposed to be settling him in the ring. He said it before, and I'll say it again probably in the future. So he fires Braun Strowman on the spot. I mean, I guess we're going to forget that Roman Reigns tried to commit vehicular homicide, and that got him an Intercontinental title match down the line. And that The Miz and them threw Braun into a garbage truck. I guess that's not a fireable offense. You know, we fired Braun Strowman. Okay, so Braun was going to leave. He was a good gentleman about it, was going to walk out the door. And then some security guard put his hands on Braun. And all hell broke loose. Braun just started chucking people around like rag dolls. He tossed the guy over a barricade thing. Tossed him over that through a table. Just nonsense, ridiculous. And he was just going to apparently destroy everyone on Raw. Like nobody was safe backstage. So Braun just proceeds to go off camera and tear things to hell. Meanwhile, we go back to the action in the ring, and in the ring we get Titus Worldwide going against the Bar, Sheamus and Cesaro. Not the greatest match in the world. The Bar lose again. Jason Jordan's music hits, and that distracts them for the surprise roll-up pinfall victory for Titus Worldwide. Again, not sure where they're going to be going with that. So we'll just leave it there, because the more exciting thing is where we go back to Braun Strowman. He breaks down the office door to Kurt Angle's office, and Kurt isn't there, but the chair and the TV and the paintings, everyone is catching these hands today, and he just throws everything around the office, causes complete chaos. He then leaves there, ends up in the catering area. Over in the catering area, he ends up there tearing apart tables and stuff. Just ends Kurt Hawkins' life, puts him through a table. So rest in peace, Kurt Hawkins. And then this guy just holding a chocolate cake as Braun just takes a piece of the chocolate cake and just eats the cake. And just guys just terrified. That was comedic gold. I love that. I want to put that chocolate cake over. Put that against chicken noodle soup. In a nice competitive head-to-head matchup, I think you've got a booking dream match. So get on it, WWE. After that, we end up getting another match. Cedric Alexander, he ends up beating Tony Nese. Enzo at one point was on the outside, kind of trying to direct his boy into winning the match. Goldust sneaks up behind him and scares him with the Enzo dance. It was actually pretty funny. But no one cares about that match either, because we got Braun Strowman! So Braun Strowman, too, is in the back, and we get just a worker, a referee, coming up and goes, listen, he's heading towards the production trucks. And Kurt Angle's like, my God, those are $12 million trucks. And, I don't know how he knew the exact cost of the truck, but that's not important, because what's important is now Braun's inside the truck, and he's just going nuts, and he's tossing paperwork around, and he's going to shut the show down at this point. He's done. He's canceling Christmas. He's canceling Rusev Day. He's a madman. So he then gets out of the truck, disengages the trailer part, or the tractor part, rather, of the tractor trailer, and just tips the entire, semi-portion of this, just tips the truck. It's fine. Whatever. And roars at Kurt Angle again, and then heads back out to ringside, because he's not done out there now, apparently. So he goes over to the announce, team, and he grabs Michael Cole, and he's just going to destroy Michael Cole. Alright, fair enough. Kurt Angle comes out with a group of security guards again. He comes in, he's talking to Braun, he's like, Braun, listen, I called off the police. I just got off the phone with Stephanie McMahon. You're rehired. You're back in the match at the Royal Rumble. Just calm down. So Braun roars in excitement because he got his job back, and to celebrate, he chucks Michael Cole anyway and throws him into the pile of security guards. Probably the safest throw, like bump that Michael Cole has ever probably taken in his very small window of getting whooped on in the WWE. But he doesn't come back to the announce table. That's it for him for the night. So then after that, we get a really good match between Asuka and Nia Jax. Really good storytelling in this match, showing how Asuka is usually doing really well against smaller opponents closer to her size, where she's able to do a lot more things with. When going against Nia Jax, you've just got this irresistible force, as I've been hearing her called. How do you combat that? Well, the way she ends up doing it is a lot of taking her down, working on the leg, eventually on the outside, kicking her leg out from under her, making her fall on the stairs, and she ends up selling a knee injury, and the ref has to call the match. This leaves you wanting more, because both women still look strong in this match the way it went down. I would like to see a rematch down the road. Don't know when that'll happen, but I think it'll be nice. And it builds, I think, more into the Rumble match. But we'll see how that plays out. Then eventually they cut backstage. Nia Jax icing her knee. And Alexa Bliss is there talking about how she's like, oh, I thought you would manhandle Asuka. I don't know what happened. This is crazy. And well, then Enzo Amore shows up. When Enzo shows up, Nia kind of shuns Alexa Bliss off, says that Enzo can stay and help her out. And so that kind of pitches that relationship more. I'm still not sure where they're going with that portion of it, or if this is now just becoming to break her and Alexa Bliss up. Not really sure. Then the Revival come out and they have a match. It's good to see them not injured and, maybe back to actually run some things in the tag. They're a very good tag team. They beat two jobbers, just some local talent. Then after that, they cut a promo in the ring. They say that they are going to be, they are professional wrestlers, not sports entertainers. You might as well have just spit in Vince McMahon's face. Vince hates the term professional wrestling. He views them as sports entertainers now. It's how he's been trying to broaden his market. It's why they do all the movies and stuff they do. They also trash talk DX and say that they've ruined wrestling by doing what they did back in the day. So this leads me to believe we're either going to get them versus DX or some other classic tag team in a tag team match at the 25th anniversary Raw, or they're just going to get beat down by a bunch of the classic guys that we loved. And we'll see. Either one could happen. I would rather see the Revival get a good push and not get kind of stomped on here. But you never know with WWE. After that, it feels like we get almost an hour of just boring, repetitive, not entertaining TV. Roman Reigns picks up the win in a 2-on-1 match against the Miz Taraj. Not that exciting, it is what it is, but it gives him momentum going into their title match next week on Raw. Sonya Deville then ends up beating Sasha Banks with a kick to the stomach, and Paige was out on ringside. They did say that Paige will not be participating in the Royal Rumble. What they didn't say is what news is circulating is that Paige is being forced to retire. She suffered during a dark match at a show, a re-injury to her neck, they believe, and the neck injury, she had gotten neck surgery previous to this, and it's just a shame really that after 20, at 25, such a young age, so much room ahead of her in wrestling that this is probably it. And WWE hasn't announced it yet. They haven't given her a send off or anything. Who knows if they will? But this story's still developing. But as of now, it sounds like she's going to have to retire. So we'll pick up on that some other time. And then you also get Matt Hardy beating Heath Slater in a match where the only thing that was over was the delete chants. But I didn't see any Bray Wyatt pop up, so that's, I guess technically a positive. After that, we get a rematch that, like, I've wanted to see. It was the first ever Universal title match back in 2016, SummerSlam, if you can remember that. Finn Balor going one-on-one against Seth Rollins. And this match really delivered in a match that I think honestly could be pay-per-view worthy. I mean, I'm sure there's more that they could throw onto it to make it better, but it was a really back-and-forth match, really good things going on there. By the end of it, the Bar, well, I guess first I should cover the botched 3 count. It was just the ref trying to get a reposition. It was an honest mistake. These things can be avoided, but it's going to happen every now and then. It's happened before, it will happen again. It wasn't like that was just the accident of the ref not being in the right position, his hand hitting the mat as he was repositioning, confusing like just a little confusing, but it wasn't a 3 count, not intentionally. But then after that, the Bar comes out. They had to go after Jason Jordan. Jason Jordan gets kind of stuck between 2 tag teams here, and he ends up waiting for the Bar to swing at him. He ducks out of the way, and they hit Anderson and Gallows. So the Bar and Anderson and Gallows are just going at it now. It's just an all-out clash. Finn eventually jumps out to the outside and clears everybody out. This leads to him getting back in the ring, going to take advantage, or go to try to pick up the win against Seth Rollins. Jason Jordan takes advantage of the ref's distraction, trips Finn Balor, and then Seth Rollins plants him with the curb stomp, a move I thought was banned. Apparently it's been taken off the ban list, or this is just going to be a one-time big pop. Ends up getting the 3 count after that. Good dynamic now where he doesn't exactly know that the win he got was a dirty win in a sense, and it leaves room for those two to go at each other again in the future. And that was it. The show ends with a uncomfortably long zoom in where Finn Balor is no longer smiling, and I'm assuming that's going to be kind of pushing towards this official heel turn that we're going to get that you should have known was coming. So that was it for Raw. Raw was, a pretty good overall show. I thought it was good. I thought, the whole thing was, solid show from top to bottom, especially all the stuff you had going on with Braun. But now we get to SmackDown. So SmackDown starts with the New Day coming out and cutting a promo there about how Xavier Woods is what's good for the United States Championship, and wasn't their best work, but it wasn't bad. It was such a fresh change from what we usually get, which is some member of management coming out and talking to us, and we just get that whole pop-off for the beginning of the show. Instead, we get right into a match, actually. It ends up being the first match of the matches that will be taking place for the United States Championship tournament. Now, originally, if you remember, this was announced to be wrapping up. The whole tournament would end at the Royal Rumble. However, the announcers do say that the finals is going to be next week. Okay, so we're going to get 2 matches we're going to get this match, and we're also going to get Mojo Rawley versus Bobby Roode. Okay, totally fine by me. I can let that slide, although I would have rather seen it wrap up when it was supposed to wrap up, and it feels a little more built out. So we get a pretty boring match between Xavier Woods and Jinder Mahal. A lot of rest holds. There is the few moments where the rallies back of Xavier Woods. This match goes through 2 commercial breaks. Feels a little uncharacteristically long. But in the end, Jinder picks up the win, hitting the Colossus. Not much to really go into about that, so we'll skip on to the next thing. I also forgot to mention, there's been throughout the night, there are going to be a lot of promos cut about the Royal Rumble. Obvious, makes sense, but they're all shot from, a phone camera, like they do in some selfies. I'm okay with that. It's different, but none of them were, worthy enough for me to make notes about them to tell you guys about, but a lot of things were said about the Rumble, so... AJ Styles then cuts a promo backstage where he talks about his 2-on-1 match at the Rumble against Sami Zayn and Kevin Owens. And the only thing I really remember about it was a good promo, but the only thing I really remember was where he basically said it's like a 3-on-1 because Kevin Owens counts for 2 people. Ha! Such funny, much humor. Make fat joke of fat man. Ha 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 ha. Anyway, it was a decent enough promo, but nothing, super exciting. Then after that, we get the next title match, or the next match in the tournament for the United States Championship. That's Mojo Rawley versus Bobby Roode. Another average match. It wasn't all that exciting. It started out really good with the back elbow and then the pounce. Really good like opening, but then again, just became a lot of rest holds and like slow pacing. Not what I really want to see in a Mojo Rawley match, to be honest with you. Not a whole lot that goes on. Bobby Roode does get the win with the glorious DDT. Then after that, the Singh Brothers come out and they jump Bobby Roode. So they jump Bobby Roode and then they head back, and they get up on the ramp, and obviously the modern day Maharaja is up there in all his Indian glory, and he goes, in 7 days I will beat you, Bobby Roode, and I will become the United States champion. And you can just hear Bobby Roode go, "Give me a microphone." So they get him a microphone, and he goes, "Why don't we just settle this now? We'll just do it right here." And Jinder goes, "No, we'll do it when I'm ready on my time." Except Daniel Bryan is now standing behind him, and he goes, "That's a great idea. Let's do that match tonight in the main event." So what you're telling me is this United States tournament that I'm supposed to care about, you just shoved everything together 2 weeks before the pay-per-view. I'm curious as to why and what we're going to do with the United States Championship at this point at the Rumble. But why? Why did you make me want to care about this tournament if you were going to pack it into 3 weeks-ish? You took away all the build-up. Part of a tournament like this is the build-up. Even though it was predictable. I knew that it was going to be Jinder versus Bobby Roode. And I knew that who wins was going to win. However, make me care. Make me want to see this play out. But they don't. They cram it in. That's our main event now for the night. So then we cut to the next match. But you know what? This whole show's been different. So maybe the women... Nope. 6-woman tag match. Charlotte, Naomi, Becky Lynch versus the Riot Squad. Boring. Just tiring. It's copy and paste. It's getting old. Apparently the women's title doesn't exist as a feud point on SmackDown. It's just simple as that. So yeah, very cookie cutter, very basic. Starts with the baby faces being up. They're in control, just like the formula goes. Then after that, we go to commercial break. The heels have taken over by the time we come back, so the bad guys are winning. Some rest holds, slowing the match down. Doing some submissions, working body parts, etc., etc. Then they get that hot tag in, so the baby faces start riling the crowd back up. Then there's a cheap shot by the heels, and they get a dirty win. Okay, I've seen that a million times. It's nothing exciting. Then the Usos cut a decent promo backstage, talking about their titles and their match against the Chad Gable and Shelton Benjamin, and sort of any time mention their name, they're just gonna pop up. So they do, and they attack them during the promo, and that's where it ends. I'm starting to question. I don't know if you guys have heard the news, but I'm sure if you're a wrestling fan, you have. Jey Uso was arrested for a DUI on Sunday. If WWE decides to punish him for his actions, which they very well could, this could mean they're going to lose the tag titles at the pay-per-view. I'm curious to see where that goes. I didn't expect they were going to, though we'll get into my predictions for the Royal Rumble, cheap plug, and another video. So yeah, after that, we end up getting to the main event. The main event, just boring. I feel, if you knew who was going to win, okay? If you're smart, you knew who was going to win this match. And you... In that being said, the match was slow, just worn out. A lot of submissions, rest hold type stuff. You do get Bobby Roode winning with the glorious DDT. Bobby Roode is your United States champion. That's how we end the show. But I feel the match would have pulled the crowd in more, would have pulled me in more, if you just put Xavier Woods in that match instead of Jinder Mahal. If you already knew who you were going to have win, it was the better choice to have Xavier Woods, who puts on more exciting matches than Jinder Mahal. But I don't write for WWE. I just write little review pieces and post them to you guys. But that was both Raw and SmackDown for this week. As you could tell by the difference in time between the two, I was much more excited about Raw than I was SmackDown. Raw was the better show, and next week with Raw being the 25th anniversary might be a lot bigger than SmackDown again. But I'll be back with reviews. I may stick to this format. I think I'm going to probably try to, but we'll see how good Raw is. Raw might have to have its own video next week, and then we'll pick this up after the Rumble. But until then, I've been Captain Solomon. You guys are awesome. Thanks for tuning in, and take it easy.